Hey, today we are going to be talking about 6 writing mistakes costing health educators a fortune. If you have written a health book or you are an aspiring author that you want to write your first or next book, then this video is for you. If you've ever had a dream or a desire, you feel that a book is in you, or other people have told you before, you've got an amazing story, you've got wonderful knowledge, you need to write a book. Here are 6 book writing mistakes that many health educators make that keeps them struggling and their books not selling and not really building a substantial business on the back end of their book. Number 1, the first biggest mistake most health educators make is being too general. A lot of times people, when I ask them like, okay, who's your book for? Oh, my book is for people to get healthy. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly how many books they're going to be selling doing that. Or I ask, who do you help? What do you do? And they're like, oh, I help just about anyone who's sick to do just about anything to get better. And I'm like, okay. And the reality is that although we have such a big heart to help everyone, we don't really have the marketing resources to help everyone. Because here's the thing. Anything that is for everyone is also for no one. In this world of such a saturated health market, the way you stand out in a crowded market is not by being so broad. It's by really being specific and learning how to specialize. I really like the way that Bruce Lee said this famous quote where he talks about, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So he's showing that repetition, it makes such a big difference. And then your ideal clients are saying something similar, but your ideal clients are saying, I trust not the man who has practiced healing 10,000 problems one time. I trust the man who has practiced healing one problem 10,000 times. So a lot of times your clients are looking for not a generalist who knows 10,000 healing methodologies or can help heal 10,000 different problems. Your clients are really looking to work with someone who knows what they're doing and who has niched down and specialized in a particular skill, who has found a particular problem for their particular person that they can solve and they have experience, or they're able to really specialize, individualize. We're living in a day and age where customization, individualization is extremely important to the buyers. And have you ever noticed that generalists in every field make significantly less money than specialists? The key that you want to be is, even if you look at a general surgeon is going to make far less money than a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon. Why? Because the specialist lawyers, they make more money. Specialists in every field, they're going to make more, including the health education. If you're looking to monetize your health knowledge online, whether you are an author, a speaker, or a coach, when you specialize, you will make more money. So there's a story where I had a friend who I found out that she was in the hospital. She was going to undergo some surgery, and when I was in the hospital, I found out she had some gallstones. And the mainstream medical advice, the only way they know how to handle gallstones is to remove your gallbladder. And then you won't be able to emulsify oils for the rest of your life. And so that was, but my friend didn't know that there's a simple 48-hour cleanse that you could do that will help you to soften up the gallstones so they're like cotton balls and they'll pass through easily. And so within 48 hours, I've gone through the cleanse, I've taken people through the cleanse. My mom got gallstones and I was able to help her to eliminate her gallstones where she's healthy and fine without surgery. But my friend, it was a little too late. She was already in the hospital preparing for surgery. And I was like, if I only knew sooner, it's really, it's a lack of knowledge that we have that makes all the difference. So the doctor, what they want to do is remove her gallbladder, and as you could see, the gallbladder is tucked away inside the liver, but they were going to do a surgery to remove it. But it was a general surgeon who was generally practicing, and he accidentally, instead of snipping the gallbladder duct, he ends up snipping the liver duct. And this created a health crisis where she had to go in the helicopter, an emergency flight, over to a specialist in a bigger city, a bigger hospital, who specializes in reversing or dealing with these types of issues. And he's one of the only people in the Pacific Northwest who could really handle that issue. And she had some major health complications that left her two children almost as orphans, without her mother in the picture. And it was quite the issue, or the difficulty. It was a challenge. And I remember very vividly when I started to learn that there were specialists for all sorts of different things. I was working with a man who had hemorrhoids, and while he had these hemorrhoids, he tried all sorts of things, from different herbs to procedures to like ice to there's a lot of things that give temporary relief. Hemorrhoids is like when your veins, or like you're basically like your colon starts coming out of your anus, and it's really painful to sit. It's really painful, sometimes bloody, to go to the bathroom. And so he's got advanced hemorrhoids, and he really wanted to address it, and he wanted my help to find someone who could do a particular procedure. And he's like, I want you, since you know how to use the internet, I want you to go find out what is the name of the specialist who just focuses on the butt and nothing but the butt. Help to find the specialist who just does that. And I was like, I didn't know those exist. He's like, well, think about it this way. Would you rather have a general surgeon who's maybe done this procedure once, if at all, or maybe 3 times through their entire career? Or would you rather have a specialist who has done this same procedure over 3,000 times throughout their career on a variety of different people and had a bunch of successful procedures under the belt? Would you rather have the guy practicing on you, or would you rather have the specialist who only does this particular procedure? I mean, think about it. I'm gonna have to live with the results of their work. So I want a specialist. And it was at that moment where I'm like, wow, there's specialists on everything. And people like this man I was working with, they don't trust the health educator or the health practitioner, the health professional who has practiced healing 10,000 problems one time. They trust the health educator who has practiced healing one problem 10,000 times. The more experience, the more focus, the more specialization that you can find, that's when you're going to go from overlooked to overbooked, because the riches are in the niches. Really, the key is to niche and grow rich. That's one of the biggest problems that many health authors will make, is being too general. And that's the same for whether you're selling a course, a speeches, if you are selling coaching or supplements. If you're trying to be too general, you're not going to market to people. Even if your health programs can help everybody, you will be unable to market to everybody. So pick a specialty, and you will find that people will come knocking at your doors asking you for help. So the second biggest mistake, we're looking at 6. The second one is not having a clearly defined problem that you're solving. And I was attending an influencer summit where there was like maybe 400 people in this room, where Brendon Burchard was hosting, and each of the speakers were making at least over $1 million a year, and they were talking about podcasting, how to write best-selling books, how to sell online courses, coaching, how to monetize a podcast, and profitable publishing and content creation. It was really a powerful event. And here at this event, one of the speakers was Natalie Hodson. And Natalie Hodson told her story. She's a Christian influencer, and she started in this fitness industry. And when she's in fitness, what she did is she talked about how at first she wanted to document her journey, and she was interested in health and fitness, so she started blogging about her like health journey, her diet, her food, her recipes, the different exercises she would do. And then she started to gain a pretty good following doing that as a fitness influencer. But then she had a baby, and then her bladder wasn't working the way that it used to, and she was on national television. She was live streaming on a live show where she had an accident, where the more that she exercised, she started to like pee her pants, and she wasn't able to hold it in. And it was so embarrassing. Like, she made a mess in front of everybody, and she was talking about how that was so challenging. But really, she, being a smart marketer, her mess became her message. Her test became her testimony. And what she did is she turned that video of her oopsie into a Facebook ad. And she ran that Facebook ad to people across to mothers. And she was targeting these mothers because she is a smart marketer. And what she did is she partnered with a doctor. She didn't know how to fix a problem, but she knew there was a doctor who focuses on women's physiology and knew how to solve it. So they created a $37 ebook called Abs, Core, and Pelvic Floor, and was able to help fix this problem for mothers. Now, her target audience was very, very specific. Now, was her target audience young women who've never had children? No. Was her target audience older women who's never had children? No. Was it male CEOs? No. I've never received an ad from her. I only heard about it because I was at the event where she was speaking. And so her target audience, her profitable person, the profitable problem she's seeking to solve was very specific. It's mothers who, after giving birth, are no longer able to hold their bladder. And she related with them and was able to build a business where not only with this $37 ebook, she was able to turn her mess into her message. She partnered with a specialized doctor who had a very specialized knowledge. She had the marketing skills, they had the health skills. So by bringing it together, they were able to make a profitable business. Some of you have the health knowledge. Some of you are able to take the marketing knowledge I'm sharing with you and partner with people who have a health knowledge and able to build, like Natalie Hodson, to be able to build this profitable business. She solved a very specific problem for a very specific person. She published a $37 ebook and made millions of dollars in ebook sales alone, just from selling and launching this ebook. And she built a business on the back end of her book through courses and coaching and speaking and otherwise. This became a best-selling book. So this is, hopefully you can see that like most of the times you're not going to niche too far. Most people err on the side of not being niched enough. And one of the second biggest mistakes health writers, health authors would make when publishing a book is not having a clearly defined problem that you're solving. A lot of people want to say, well, I just want to tell my health journey. I just want to tell my story. Well, it's like people don't really care about your health story. The only thing they care about is what your health story can do for them. So when you can share your story in a way that it solves a very specific problem, then people are interested and ready to buy it. And so by not having a clearly defined problem that you're solving, this is going to make a big mistake. So what I do is I help health educators to write, publish, and launch their book to #1 bestseller within 60 days. Whether it's their first book, whether it's their next book, or if they're already an existing author that they want to take their current book and launch it to bestseller. When I'm coaching health educators and when I'm training them in my best-selling book bootcamp, one thing that I often teach them is before you publish your book, let's decide who is your profitable person that you're going to be writing to. Who is your target audience. And then second, we're going to be like, what is the problem that you're going to solve in your book before you even write any page? Because unfortunately, a lot of times when people don't have, when they're too general on who, and they are not clear at all on what problem they're solving, then they write the book, but they don't get to bestseller. They don't actually publish and reach the people they're called to reach. So when I'm coaching health educators and teaching them how to build a business on the back end of their book, that's one of the first things that we do. So the third biggest mistake that many health educators make is not knowing what your clients are actually paying you for. And in order to publish a book, we're talking about health experts, health educators, but recognize there's two types of health experts. One, the first type of health expert is called a result expert. And the results is really at the end of the day what people are looking for. You have a map from where to get from point A to point B, the destination they desire. And your map, your book is like the framework. It's the steps, goes chapter by chapter, helping them to produce a result. And this is what people pay for. It's not about how much time you put into the book. It's about how you can deliver the results through the book as people apply the principles that you teach. So a lot of times people think that, oh, I need more credentials, maybe I need more degrees, maybe I need more certifications. And so they go out and spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on these health certification programs, thinking if I could be more credible, if I could have more credentials, then people will trust what I have to share. But the reality is, people are not paying for your degree. They're not paying for your credentials. They're paying for results. And like for me, like my credentials is my results and the results that I have for my clients. So when I first got started in my health education career, I realized, well, first of all, I had a heart attack when I was 12. And when I was 12, I was the second fattest kid of an elementary school of about 1,000 students. I went to the hospital, took my blood work, found out I was pre-diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I knew I was morbidly obese. But what happened was, the results that I started going on this journey to explore and understand holistic lifestyle nutrition, and I was able to lower my cholesterol and no longer in pre-diabetes. I lost 50 pounds in 3 months and never put it back on through learning how to stop eating so much toxic food and start cleansing the body and allowing my body to eliminate those wastes through our 5 elimination organs, and started getting the nutrients my body wasn't getting. So as far as like results, I had weight loss results, I had pre-diabetes results, I had different results that people are willing to pay for. If I could help others do that, then they wanted to know my insights. And so I had a heart attack when I was 12, and that story was like, whoa, you did what? And the Surgeon General says that we're looking at the first generation that's not expected to outlive their parents. So this is becoming a crisis. There was a study that was done that the cells in these preteens are 10 years older than what they were in previous generations. Like, there's a crisis, and I was about to be another childhood statistic. But this result got me booked and paid to speak at different events. People wanted to hear from me. Then they hear from me, and then they're like, wow, I want to know how to do what you've done. So they'd invite me to do health seminars, health lectures, and for the last 11 years, I've been booked and paid to speak, traveling around the nation, even internationally, sharing my health stories. So those results is what people are looking for in order to pay you. When people pay, they're paying for results. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And if you think they're paying, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is not knowing what your clients are actually paying you for. Because if you think they're paying for something else, you're going to spend all of your time focused on all of these different, really not so much distractions, but there are things that are not going to, if it's clients, if it's paying clients that you want, if you're wanting to monetize your health knowledge, to start charging a fee, instead of doing things for free, to charge a price for your health advice, if this is a goal that you have, then not knowing what your clients are actually paying for is one of the biggest mistakes that's costing you a fortune. So get really clear on what is the results that you're able to produce for a profitable person, someone who's able, not just able, but also willing to pay for those results. So that's the first type of expert. The second we're going to look at, but it goes into the fourth biggest mistake, is thinking that you need to have the results you are getting paid for. And as I mentioned, there's two types of experts. The first expert is called the results expert. And that's when you do have the results, but that's not the only one. A lot of times people are like, well, maybe I don't have a weight loss experience, or I've been healthy for a while. Well, what's the second one? Second one is what I would call the reporter expert. As a reporter, you're able to report on the results of others. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm going to create a program, and I'm like, hey, I want to build a training to help to teach baby boomers over the age 60 how to become an elite athlete. But here's the thing. I'm not a baby boomer. I'm actually 29. I'm not an elite athlete. I've never done an ultra marathon or a triathlon, an Ironman. I don't even have my sights set on any of those. But how many of you would buy from me if you knew I wasn't a baby boomer or an elite athlete? Type yes or no in the chat. This is, and many people would say no. It's like, why would I buy from you? Okay, fair enough. But let's say all facts still the same, but let's add a new piece to the puzzle. Let's say that what if I interviewed 100 of the world's top athletes who each started their journey after the age 60? What if I interviewed people like this man, Yuichiro Miura, who was over 80 years old and he scaled to Mount Everest. He's climbed Mount Everest 3 times in his later years of life. And what if I interviewed someone like Bill Andrews, who is an ultra marathon runner, who's the oldest man who ever run Ultra Lehigh, which is literally where you have to be running for 60 hours straight. And it's over 18,000 feet of elevation, literally running through the Himalayas nonstop for days, literally days. And through the night, through the morning, and if you do not run this course, this ultra marathon within 60 hours, then you don't actually pass. But let's say I interviewed Bill Andrews and 100 other elite athletes who are Ironman finalists, who were ultra marathon runners, who are triathlon runners, people who are elite athletes who climb the tallest mountains in the world, and they each started their athletic journey after the age 60. And I asked them, what did you do? What are the biggest mistakes that keeps baby boomers from being healthier? Like, what was it that prompted you to change your life? What inspired you to make a difference? You didn't do the athletic journey beforehand, but why did you wait? And what advice would you give to other baby boomers who want to have a healthier life? Or what advice would you give to people who don't want to wait till later years to take hold of their life? And I interviewed people who are in better shape in their 70s and 80s than they were in their 20s and 30s. And then I boiled it down, and I identified a framework, and I noticed that there is a step-by-step process that all of these baby boomers did. I noticed that there's like, as I'm interviewing these people, these baby boomers who are elite athletes, and no, I mean elite athletes. See those guns on them? Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Now, and we're talking about helping baby boomers to become elite athletes, and I identified a master framework. There are like 6 common habits that all of these baby boomers had in common, and 6 habits anyone can apply and advise with their advice. And I also picked up some of the best interviews out of the bunch, and I'm also going to compile that together. And I did a report on what those 6 habits were, where I break down the patterns between all 100 interviews, what they all were doing. Now, how many of you would buy from me if you knew I interviewed over 100 baby boomer elite athletes, finding out what they did? Type yes in the chat if you see like that this is something you would buy. And many of you say yes, because the reason why is because now I'm taking the reporter approach. And as a reporter, you don't actually have to have the exact results that you're teaching people to create. And there's business after business after business that has been able to build a multi-million-dollar business on the back of being a reporter. And I could show you more examples. So the fourth biggest mistake is thinking you need to have the result you are getting paid for. It's not necessarily the case. In fact, you are, as long as you can get the results, you can be a reporter. You can interview experts and share those. So the fifth biggest mistake is relying too much on your own results. Sometimes you may have the result, but it's still a good idea to play the reporter role. I'll give you an example. So Tony Robbins wrote this book, Life Force. And what I find is very interesting about this experience is he sent me this book. I don't know how I got on his list, but he sent me a book called Life Force, and I was reading the back of the book, and I noticed how it said, Life Force is a result of interviews with more than 100 of the world's top medical pioneers. And I was like, wow, even Tony, who he's been able to defy multiple diagnostics, reverse cancer, overcome cancer in his life, and hundreds, probably thousands of others as well. He has health seminars that people come and they're able to radically transform their bodies, their life. He's been able to lose weight, and his physical fitness is of like an elite athlete currently, and the physical strain that he has to do to put on like these 60 hours of seminars is in a few days is like that of, studies have been done and saying that of like equal to someone who's like running a quarterback in playing a Super Bowl or in professional football. So he has the physical fitness, the endurance, the health, the overcoming health issues. And so he has results is what I'm saying. But even though Tony Robbins has the results in health, he's still taking the reporter approach, and he's leveraging his network or interviews with credible experts and some of the top medical pioneers in the health fields. And so what this shows us is that you are able to, if you lean too much on your results, that could also cost you a fortune, because when you leverage other people's influence, you can borrow their audience to build your audience. You can borrow their expertise to build your expertise. You can borrow their credibility to build your credibility. You can borrow their story to build their story. You're like, I don't have a story. Borrow their story. I don't have experience. Borrow their experience. I don't have results. Borrow their results. Let them talk about their results and the people they've helped, and you just extract with questions and put your curiosity cap on and then interview them, and you can actually package that into a best-selling book, just like Life Force. So the reality is, anything that you lack in resources, you can always make up and leverage. Leverage other people's stories, other people's expertise, other people's knowledge, other people's results. Leverage other people's platforms, and you can do this. So you don't have to rely on your own results that you've produced. And in the beginning, you don't even necessarily have to be the results you produce for your clients. Like, you can start with compiling and reporting on these books. There's lots of health books of people reporting on lessons that they've learned from major health educators. In fact, like, another way to look at it is, does a doctor need to have diabetes in order to help someone with diabetes to overcome? No, they don't. Or like, I used to work at a mechanic shop before I started our health education business. Does a mechanic need to own, like, do I as a mechanic have to own a broke down van in order to help someone to fix their van? No, I don't. If you have the results, if you have the knowledge, if you have the findings from your reports, if you have a system that's able to produce a result, a framework, then that's what people are paying for. So the fifth mistake is relying too much on your own results. It's not a requirement. Even if you have great results, I would suggest to do both. There's value in the reporter. There's value in being a results expert. At the beginning, if you're only a reporter, that's okay to start, but eventually you want to start getting some results too. But if you're just the results expert, then that's okay to start too. But eventually you want to start having some reporter expertise as well. So when you combine them together, it just creates this beautiful, like, virtuous cycle of value and profitability. So the last biggest mistake that I will share when that health educators make when publishing a book is not beginning with a back end in mind. See, so many times I talk to health educators and they come to me in our consultation. I'm like, okay, so tell me about your business beyond your book. What does the back end look like? And they look at me like a deer in the headlights and they're like, I don't have a back end business. I just have a book. And I'm like, okay, well, let's start there. And what we're going to do is instead of just writing a book, we're going to think about the back-end business. What are other problems you're able to solve as a result of writing a book? The book is not the business. The book is what is like the foundation of a business that you're able to build the profitable programs and pillars on, whether that's through, if a book can help you to get speaking engagements, a book can help you to sell coaching programs, a book can help you to start courses, to break through in a new niche. A book is one of the most powerful tools to help, like every other part of a business can benefit by publishing a book. So Tanya Jackson, one of our clients, she's a health educator. She's an international health speaker, and she was sharing that as she went through our program, she said one thing is very different from your program is that your boot camp is optimized for sales and building a business. And I love that. So many other publishers who, it breaks my heart to see how so many other publishers that they just focus on getting them publishing a book, but they don't actually help with the back end to help build the business that is able to support and sustain your message. Because the reality is, there's like two sides of the coin. You have, on one side of the coin, you have your mission, your message. That's what you want to go get out to the world to change lives. But on the other side of the coin, you have the money. You have the monetization, the marketing. This is what's going to help you to sustain your work. And if you don't make the money, you can't sustain the message. So we want to build the back ends. I'll give you another example. So how many of you have heard of the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead? It's about man Joe Cross. He goes on this journey. He's fat, he's sick, he's nearly dead, and he goes on drinking more plants and juicing. He's from Australia. He travels around America, and he's interviewing people, and he's doing this juice cleanse. Well, did you know that Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead started first as a book? And this book that he published landed him a best-selling documentary of him sharing this journey. And what happens is when people, and what's amazing about this is when people read your book, they're like, wow, I want my audience to be a part of that. So a back-end problem that he solved is by being able to sell speaking engagements. Now he gets paid big money to speak on stages as a result of his book and his documentary. And when he is also a high in-demand health authority, and he has coaching programs, and he also has made millions of dollars selling in affiliate revenue, because if he's teaching people how to juice, then then what's the next follow-up problem? What's a back-end problem that people are going to have? Well, what juicer do I use? So he partnered with a company to sell other people's products. He didn't want to design the juicer and ship out the juicer, have all the inventory. So he partnered with a company to outsource that so he can focus on his health education, and he's made millions of dollars in affiliate revenue. Now, Joe is not a health expert. He was a lawyer coming from a law background. So this is how an average Joe was able to build a multi-million-dollar business on the back end of his book. And this is where, how many of you would like your book to do any of these things for you? Type yes in the chat if you're interested in speaking in millions in affiliate revenue or coaching programs, becoming a high in-demand authority in the health space. Type yes in the chat if you could start to see the vision. So what we do is I help people to package their health knowledge into a best-selling book. And if you're ready, then just take a screenshot of this, text the number on the screen, 424-243-6624. Just text the word best-selling to the number, and I want to gift you a free gift from Enoch, which is my best-selling author secrets masterclass. Here is how you can leverage a short book to make big money with a small audience online. These are the principles that I've used to publish my 2 best-selling books to #1 bestseller and beyond, and then build a business on the back end of your book. This 90-minute free masterclass is going to go into is going to show you everything you need to know for how to grow your business with a best-selling book. If you're a holistic wellness coach, a health educator, if you're an alternative health care professional, then definitely go to freegiftfromeenoch.com/bestselling or text the number that was on the screen. Back it up with the video, take a screenshot, text bestselling, and I'd love to send this to you so that you can and go through this training of just pure value. It's going to address a lot of different questions and concerns. If you're thinking about writing a book, you want to avoid these mistakes, then this masterclass is going to be a powerful next step to clarify this journey. So what we're talking about today is 6 book writing mistakes costing health educators a fortune. And if you like this video, then hit like and subscribe, share it with other people. I love to support the health education community, especially holistic health educators. Just think, who do you know that has a book that can benefit from this? Who do you know that wants to publish a book? Who do you know that has been told you should publish a book? Go share with them this video. And I think that they will thank you for it. And as always, remember, friends, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Have a great day, and God bless.